Well, good morning, everyone. What an exciting day to live in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm Walker Sanders, and I'm president of the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to one of the more exciting announcements about this city's future today, the announcement of the major gift for our Performing Arts Center and the name of the building as well. I'm going to briefly highlight how we got to this place, and it all started back in January of 2012 when Robbie Perkins and the City Council asked the Community Foundation to convene a task force. And we did what had never been done before. We went out to 82 of our closest friends and we asked them to drop everything. And we asked folks that were really for a Performing Arts Center. We asked those that were not for a Performing Arts Center. We asked those that wanted to do something at the War Memorial Auditorium. And we asked those that were strong advocates to do something downtown. For the first time, we wanted to bring a diverse group of people together that represented all parts of this city and ask really hard questions and take a business approach to solve this problem for Greensboro. And that is, do we want a Performing Arts Center? Can we support a Performing Arts Center? And is there a market demand to do this Performing Arts Center? And through the leadership of Louise Brady and Henry Fry, who co-convened that task force, and the strong staff support that Ross Harris and Sarah Healy gave, we answered those questions. We had countless public meetings. I believe, as Alan Johnson said, it was one of the most open processes we've ever had as a community. Every meeting was available to the media. Every report that we had is on our website and still is. And it defined a new way of doing things in Greensboro. And that was open, transparent, and let's ask the community's voice to be heard and listened to respectfully. And we did that. And I want to congratulate the City Council for their leadership in setting forth on this mission and this partnership with us. We have several right here in the front row. I want to recognize Nancy Vaughn, Nancy Hoffman, and Zach Matheny. I didn't see any of our other City Council people come in, but I wanted to recognize them and our Mayor, Robbie Perkins, to thank them for the leadership for kickstarting this conversation. Thank you all. So we made a report to the City Council in June of last year, and in that report, the task force had very strong recommendations that this community is dying for a Performing Arts Center. This community needs a Performing Arts Center that houses our local symphony or the Bryan series, provide those local outlets that we need to have a quality facility. It needs to be an attraction for first-class Broadway and then huge spectaculars. In this community, based on the analysis we did, so it needs to be around a 3,000-seat hall, but it needs to be flexible in terms of being able to house those different type of activities. So it really serves everyone in this community for all different types of purposes. In June, the City Council asked us to take it a step further. They said, if you will continue the task force work and look at where exactly should we put this in downtown, how's it actually going to be financed? Really study that hard. And how will we pay for it? What's the best operating model possible for this community? So we spent the next 6 months studying that and looking at a number of different sites throughout downtown. And we came up with the area of the YWCA and the Belmead site as kind of the premier site that needed to do. But we needed to kind of do a master plan, a master development for that site. To move this project forward, again, the City Council stepped forward and provided the critical leadership to keep pushing it forward. And that was they committed the first money into the project. They committed $20 million made up of hotel fees and user fees that would finance that $20 million. That was a critical piece to this formula because it said to the private donors that we're in, the city's committed to this. And it gave the fundraising efforts the ability and the credibility to go out and take what we had as soft conversations of thinking we could get to our goal of raising $20 million to having hard conversations, getting the signed pledges. And it represented a new way of moving projects forward in a public-private partnership. In Sunday's paper, they mentioned there was a day and time when, at a moment's notice, people could pick up the phone and raise $1 million. Well, I'd like to say there's another day and time that they're wrong. There's not a moment's notice that somebody can pick up the phone and raise $1 million. But in the 21st century, when we do it public-private, there are people that will step forward and not raise $1 million, but raise $20.7 million for a Performing Arts Center. And the person that led that effort is Kathy Manning. And Kathy is going to talk more about the naming gift, and I'm going to ask Kathy to come forward. Kathy?
Good morning. Over the past 6 months, we have been delighted by the support we've received from the City Council, from county commissioners, and from the citizens of Greensboro, who have shared our vision of building a first-class performing arts center in downtown Greensboro. Clearly, there are many people in this community who understand what this new venue can mean for the future development of Greensboro. And over the past few months, we've made announcements of very significant pledges from private citizens, foundations, and corporations who are willing to lead the way by committing their funds in support of this important project. So today, I have the privilege of announcing an extraordinary challenge grant by someone who has long-standing ties to our community. He's a product of our community. He grew up in Greensboro. He attended Sternberger Elementary School, Kaiser Middle School, Grimsley High School, and is a Carolina graduate. Together with his father, he built a homegrown Greensboro business that is still headquartered in Greensboro and now has operations in 26 states and Canada. In fact, on the morning of May 28th of this year, I just happened to turn on the news in time to see him ring the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange in celebration of the 20th anniversary of the initial public offering of his company's stock. He has made his mark in the corporate world, but he's also made his mark in the charitable world, having been a major contributor to the fight against breast cancer and many causes improving the lives of children. His leadership has been recognized by the state of North Carolina, which awarded him the Order of the Longleaf Pine. Today, he makes an important mark on the future of Greensboro. This is a man who understands the importance of investing in the future. It is my pleasure to announce that Stephen B. Tanger has made an extraordinary challenge grant of $7.5 million to name our new Performing Arts Center if we are able to reach $35 million in private donations, inclusive of his gift, by December 31st of this year. Stephen has issued this generous pledge as a challenge grant to ensure that we build the type of first-class performing arts center that our task force recommended and that Greensboro deserves. I have no doubt that we can meet this challenge. We only have $7 million more to go, and there are many capable donors out there who I know are waiting for the right time to make their commitments, and now is the right time. So let me ask Stephen to come in here, and I want to make a few remarks right to his face. I think you get a sense of the appreciation we all feel. But I want to say a few things to you. I want to start by expressing my personal thanks and appreciation for what you're doing. For many of us, this is a very important time of year when we step back and think deeply about the way in which we want to express our humanity and act towards others and leave a legacy in the coming year. And you have demonstrated today the way in which you want to share the futures of your many years of hard labor and your good fortune with our community. You are demonstrating with your actions the kind of legacy you want to leave. I know your mother, your sister, your brother-in-law, your niece, your nephew-in-law, and many employees are here today and feel great pride in what you're doing. I only wish your father, who I had the great privilege of knowing, could be here today to share the excitement and the pride he would have felt in what you're doing for our community. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, I have some money to raise.
Well, first, thank you for such a warm reception. It's really very much appreciated. I'd also like to thank Walker and the group at the Community Foundation, Kathy Manning, for her extraordinary efforts as a volunteer, although her husband may not think that she's a volunteer because she's very well paid, I'm sure. It's my pleasure to introduce to you my mother, Doris Tanger, who's in our front row, my sister, Susan, and her husband, Joan Neiman, my niece, Lori, and her husband, Oliver Lloyd. And it gives me great pride to introduce the executive leadership team of Tanger Outlets, which are my senior thought partners, and it's my privilege to stand here representing all of them. As Kathy said, I'm a proud product of the public school system in Greensboro. I may not have been a Tar Heel born, but I am definitely a Tar Heel bred. We intend to build the most beautiful center for the performing arts with superior acoustics and cutting-edge technology in the southeastern United States. The new Stephen Tanger Center will be a place where families can come together and enjoy and learn about the performing arts. Everyone will be able to enjoy the riches of great performances that will add to the culture and improve the quality of life in this city we call home. In addition to the cultural benefit, the center will have a very positive economic benefit for the city of Greensboro. We will create jobs. Having a job allows a person the dignity of purpose. We will create jobs for the many trades that will construct this facility. We will create jobs for the talented people pursuing the performing arts. And we will create jobs for the dedicated staff that will operate the Stephen Tanger Center. My father, Stanley Tanger, loved to say, "Do it now, make it happen, and have fun." A center for the performing arts in Greensboro has been a dream of a lot of people for the last 10 years. We now have the fundraising within reach, and we have the site identified. So let's do it now. Our mayor and the city council, understanding the importance of the performing arts to our community, together with the Community Foundation, the volunteers, the donors, and everyone working so hard to make Greensboro a cultural destination. So let's make it happen. When we sit together with the families and children of Greensboro at a great performance by world-class artists in our new Center for the Performing Arts, we will definitely have lots of fun and look back on all of the efforts of the many people involved to make this happen. The original goal of raising $20 million in private donations has already been exceeded. I have challenged the Community Foundation and the people of Greensboro to increase their target and raise $35 million, which together with the public funding will provide the money necessary to build and operate this fabulous world-class performing arts center in Greensboro. We are already at 80% of our target. I am confident that we will exceed our goal and committed to supporting our team to to make this a reality. I want to thank you for giving me the privilege of continuing our family's long-standing tradition of giving back to the city we love, which has given us so much. God bless all of you.
All I can say is, wow, wow. You know, Steve, when you're picking out what to wear to something like this, and you're the mayor of the city of Greensboro, a green tie is appropriate. But the shirt, it came from Tanger Factory Outlet Center in Burlington, North Carolina. Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, some of us dreamed that we could build this facility. And it might have been a stretch a year and a half ago when Matt Brown brought it to City Council and said we had to do something with war memorials at the Coliseum. And Walker and others in the community said we made a mistake 57 years ago, but this needs to go downtown. And we took a deep breath and we said, well, we're going to try it, but we weren't so sure. Now, when your dad came into my office in the early 1980s, it's so long ago I don't even remember, and he said, you know, I'm going to try this little thing over in Burlington, and I think I can sell some shirts. Look what that turned into. I mean, that is courage, and that is strategy, that is leadership, and it's huge success. And that's what this facility is going to bring to this community. I mean, we are talking about an investment in this city's future that will change us over the next 100 years. And it's so exciting to see the generosity of Steve, you and others in this community, and the energy that Kathy and her team have put into making this happen for all of us. This is bigger than any individual. This is a community project, and our city has stood up. It is incredible. Now, I can tell you a year ago, I was in a conference down in Charleston, South Carolina, with the fellow that I think is the mayor of mayors in the United States. He's a guy named Joe Riley. And Joe has been mayor of Charleston for 39 years. And if you were in Charleston 39 years ago, you would have seen an entirely different city than the world-class Charleston, South Carolina is today. And I did a little presentation. It was kind of a stretch. It was on a site up at the corner of Bellmead and Elm, and Walker and a few folks knew that it was happening. And at the end of that meeting, this mayor of mayors stood up and he said, that was a good presentation, but you can't be the third largest city in the state of North Carolina and not do this project. And it's got to be on that site. So I can tell you that we're getting, and we are going to have the type of attention regionally and even nationally because of the stature of this facility that is going to take Greensboro to another level. And your investment, Steve, is really more than in the bricks and mortar of this facility. Because the single biggest change that I've seen in this community since we got started with this project is the attitude of this community to do positive things. And the most important part of the positive things that we're doing is this Generation G-PAC that Lori's getting off the ground. These are the young professionals that have been energized by this whole process. And they're the leadership that is going to take this city forward. And that's the biggest single investment that any of us could make, is in that next generation that's going to make Greensboro, North Carolina, in my view, the best place to live in this country. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're just so gracious. We're so grateful for your gift and in the strategy of that gift. Because Kathy Manning's always been wanting to make this A++, and this will enable us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I do want to comment on something that Robbie said. Generation GPAC is an extraordinary example of what's growing out of this project. It's being co-chaired by Elizabeth Phillips and Lori Lloyd, and for those of you who want to know more about it, we'll be happy to talk about it after the press conference. So I want to just take a moment again to thank Steve for all you are doing. You're inspiring us with your generosity, and you're pushing us to move forward and raise the money we need to make this the kind of facility we deserve in this community. I want to thank you all for being here today. We have refreshments. We hope that you'll stay around and enjoy them. And we also, I understand, are willing to have one-on-one conversations with the members of the media who are here today. So thank you all, and anybody who wants to start helping me meet that $7 million challenge, I'll be right here for a little while. Thank you all.